Once you open your employer, you will come to what we call the employer menu. Notice on the left-hand navigation, the globe indicates the employer menu, and we can always click here to get back to this point. Now you'll notice 3 tabs at the employer menu, and we'll use those tabs from a navigational standpoint and other points in Dynamis. We have coverage period, details, and employer plan database. Details is where we would go to edit the employer name. This is also where we can move it from client to prospect or back and forth, add location and contact information if we need to, exactly what you'd expect for details at the employer menu. Now we'll be talking about the employer plan database later. Right now I want to focus on coverage periods. All right, so the idea is that in Dynamis, we organize our employers into what we call coverage periods. They're a pretty simple concept. It's a date range that holds a set of benefits and premiums. But the difference is in Dynamis, they mean something. Now, when we're going in and creating an employer for the first time, we're actually going to be creating 2 coverage periods. One is going to be the date range where the current or existing coverage resides, and then the other coverage period will be for the renewal and any proposed options. So we're going to go ahead and click on Add New to access the coverage period wizard. And you'll notice when our coverage period wizard comes up, if we take a closer look at this, we're actually creating those 2 coverage periods we discussed. Here is where we enter the name and the date range for the existing coverage period. And here's where we enter the name and the date range for the renewal coverage period. All right. Now we're under the assumption that they have existing coverage. If they didn't have any existing coverage, we would click no. But our sample employer does have current coverage, and we're going to use the default coverage period. So we're assuming a renewal on January 1st, 2016. So our coverage period name for existing coverage is actually going to be 2015. All right, here's our date range. We can go in and change those to set up that coverage period. Notice we would say that coverage began on January 1st, 2015 and is ending on 12/31/2015. Now we can change the name of the coverage period if we need to. We're going to just leave it at the default 2015. Here's our renewal coverage period default of 2016. So here's the name and the date range where we're going to be entering in the renewal and the proposed options. All right. You'll notice that these dates automatically pick up on wherever the existing coverage period ends. So whatever this end date is, that will trigger what the renewal coverage period looks like. All right, we want to make sure and leave community rated unchecked since we're going to be building out a composite rated sample. But again, the key here is that for the first time we come in and build an employer, we're actually building out the coverage period for current or existing coverage, and then the separate coverage period that's going to hold the renewal as well as the proposed options. All right, once we have our coverage periods named, we have our date ranges set, we're going to go ahead and click Create. Note that it says confirm dates are correct. Once they are in, they can't be changed. But remember, we can always change the end date of the renewal coverage period. So in cases like this year where we had a move to October 1s, we'll always be able to go in and edit the end date of the most recent coverage period to accommodate either short or extended renewals. Now that we've got our name and date ranges set, we're going to go ahead and click Create, and we'll be going on to the next step of the coverage period setup wizard.